So we wrapped up our zoology lesson. Now we're moving on to botany. And the lesson that I had chosen for you this morning, since it is spring, is the lesson on our state tree, which also happens to be our state flower, and that is the dogwood. This is the American dogwood. They grow naturally, or they are native to our state of Virginia. So right now they are beginning to bloom because we are in the season of spring. They bloom from April until June. I know we're just starting April, so they are just starting to bloom, and some of them continue to bloom until June. So we will be talking about the American dogwood. So the American dogwood became the state flower, the state tree of Virginia in 1918, which was 102 years ago. This happens to be one of Miss Tabitha's favorites as well, but also the favorite of one of our very first presidents. He was actually the third president, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was from here in Virginia, just like all of us. He lived in northern Virginia on a farm that he named Monticello. And on his farm, it was a very large farm. It was 5,000 acres. Now coming to our farm here, our Montessori farm, it is only 5 acres. President Jefferson, his was 5,000. So many, many times larger than our small farm here. But on his farm, he grew dogwoods. He loved dogwoods so much that he actually helped to get the state of Virginia to name the dogwood as the state flower, the state tree. So, when President Jefferson was our president, he had his farm, Monticello. He grew the dogwoods. But before he became president, I apologize, our chicks are over here making a lot of noise. But before he was president, he actually was the minister to the country of France, which is in Europe. And when he visited France and the other European countries, he took the seeds of the dogwood to those countries, to the leaders of those countries, the kings, the prime ministers, and gave them the seeds because he loved these trees so much. He wanted other people around the world to also have them. So he helped to spread this beautiful tree around the world. So, some facts about our dogwood. As you can see, they have white and green at the center. Now, this happens to be a false flower. If you remember the lesson that Miss Tabitha gave, and I talked about how strawberries are false fruits, the dogwood flower that we think is the flower actually is not. These 1, 2, 3, 4 petal bracts are not the petals of the flower at all. They are false. The flower is actually the tiny green yellow part here in the center. That is where the pollen is kept, the stamen, the pistil, all of those parts of the flower are here. And these creamy white part, the petal bracts, they are just beautiful to look at. They don't serve a purpose in regards to the flower. So our dogwoods have very thin branches. They grow to 20 to 30 feet tall, which is, if you were to measure the distance of the classroom, they would grow to be about that tall. If you took a dogwood tree and laid it down on the floor of the classroom, that is about how tall they would be, from the root all the way to the top of the canopy of the tree. They are not very large trees. They have very small branches, like I said, but they're very graceful. So when they grow up, instead of the branches growing up like this, they kind of are like this. So if you take your hands and spread them out like this, that is how they grow. So the flowers will actually face up towards the sun, a very beautiful, graceful way. They curve and they arch. So the flowers are small, they're not very large. Again, they grow on our very small branches. The bark is a dark gray-brown mixture. If you are in one of my elementary classes, you may remember that we looked for lichen, and some of you found lichen on our dogwood bark. There's actually some here. It's a great habitat for lichen to grow, that symbiotic relationship. Growing on the bark of our dogwood tree does not harm it at all. So when the flower has been pollinated, tiny little red berries, little fruits will begin to grow. Those are poisonous to you and me. Humans cannot eat those tiny little berries, but they are full of fiber and fat. Birds love them. Our native cardinals and bluebirds and robins love those little red berries, along with squirrels and rabbits and skunks. Other small mammals, beavers, possums, raccoons, sometimes they even eat them, and some of our larger mammals, like our black bears that live here in Virginia, white-tailed deer, they will also eat the tiny little red berries, the little fruits that grow. So Miss Tabitha has a picture here, and you can see the green leaves as the tree is growing, the white flowers before those leaves grow. You can see the tiny little red berries, and you can also see that in fall their leaves change from green to red. So along with this lesson, the video lesson that you're getting, Miss Tabitha has included 2 worksheets. Now again, these are things that you can color for our children's house and even our elementary. But those of you who are able to write, you can take some of the information from it. You can copy the words flowering dogwood, Virginia state flower. You can copy that into your notebook, practice your spelling. You can maybe write a story about it. Maybe you've seen some dogwoods. Maybe you even have one in your yard. You can write a story about that. You can color it in. So one really fun thing about dogwoods is normally they are this creamy white, almost a pale yellow, but some of them actually do grow in a shade of light pink, pastel pink, and even a pastel yellow. Those are much more rare. Normally you see the white, but if you happen to see a pink or a yellow, it is a dogwood. It's just a lot more rare. So along with this coloring sheet, I also have included this fact sheet for Virginia. It includes the state flower, the state tree. It includes our state flag. It includes some facts about our state. Remember, our state bird is the cardinal. I talked about that in our native bird lesson. It talks about when our state was founded. It also talks about our state fish. I unfortunately do not have one of our state fish here on the farm. That is a brook trout. They live in the mountains of Virginia. So they live over here on this side of Virginia, not where we live on the coastal area. But this is a really great one, again, for our friends who are learning to spell and write in their notebooks. There's a lot of great information on here. I know that your teachers will appreciate you practicing writing in your notebook, so I'm going to help push that as well. So again, you have both of these. You also have a very small fact sheet included in your lesson materials. Now, in a few minutes, Miss Tabitha will be taking the camera outside. We're going to go on a nature walk. We're going to look for a few more of the trees that are native to Virginia here on the farm. You will see a dogwood, as well as a longleaf pine tree. You will also see our white oak that is located near our picnic tables where we tend to eat lunch, as well as our sweet gum tree. I know a lot of you have seen these when we go on our walk to the barn or to the garden, and you always ask me, is that where gum comes from? It unfortunately is not where gum comes from, but it is the sweet gum tree, and as I take you on a nature walk, I will talk about these other trees along with a few other trees that we have here on the farm. I will only be talking about the native trees that grow here on our farm. I can save the ornamental trees, the extras, for another lesson, but I want to talk about only what is native to Virginia, and those will be the trees that I will cover as we go on our nature walk. I hope that you enjoy it, and you'll also get to see some of our animal friends here on the farm. Okay?